Ladies and gentlemen, he doesn't need any introduction. Please welcome Mr. Marty Smith.
Hey, Marty!
I see you, Marty, with the sweet Joe Burrow.
Gentlemen, I hope you're well. I hope you're festive. You're always festive. I don't even need to ask that question. I hope y'all boys are good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're doing well, Marty. We appreciate you asking about us. So how's your life going right now? What's going on now with football right on the cusp of everything? Any news you have that we don't know about?
Since you're in the big chair, I wanted to make sure that was there.
That looks good. Got a lot of good Buckeye stickers on there. I see you.
Got a lot of Buckeye stickers. I played really well on special teams.
Hey, we need wedge busters.
Yeah, man, I am at a fever pitch for college football to get here. I've been watching every NFL preseason game, which I've never done, I don't think, in my life. But so many of these young men playing the game now at the highest level, I had the blessing of building relationships with while they were playing college football. And so I'm so invested in their success. And so it's fun to see, and I just can't wait to kick it off, man. Let's strap up and get it.
Yeah, I know. When you build a relationship with these guys when they're in college, I wondered, can you tell some of the guys that, I mean, I guess it's hard to tell who's going to make it, but could you tell some college guys that maybe aren't going to make it at the next level? Have you ever been like, man, I don't know about that guy. He may be a great college player, but I don't know if that translates to the NFL.
I think there were probably some guys that proved me wrong. But honestly, when you're at the University of Alabama and Ohio State and Texas and LSU and Clemson all the time, you're looking at the premier talents in the game, and not just premier talents in the game, but they have to have a self-accountability and a coachability and the ability to listen and develop in order to stay there. And so most of those guys are going to have the opportunity based on the context that they're in to be great. And like, I remember when Joe Burrow was at Ohio State, and I remember when he was battling for the starting job against Dwayne Haskins, and I remember thinking, that guy's going to win because he's such a dog. And then Dwayne, of course, he won the job, wound up throwing for 50 touchdowns, was a Heisman finalist, absolutely the right choice by Urban Meyer and his group.
Rest in peace.
And then, am I breaking up a little bit?
No, you're good.
Okay, good. So then Joe goes to LSU, and I told everybody, I said, I promise you this guy's going to be different. I promise you this is going to be a guy who comes in. He's going to be a little bristly at first. He's a different kind of cat to get to know. But once they see him between the lines, once they see him in the weight room, once they watch him lead, they're going to see a different kind of dude. And then, in my estimation, maybe produced the greatest season in the history of college football with that 2019 group that just had pros everywhere, with Jamar and with JJ and with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, on and on and on, right? But I just kind of knew it with him. And so that kind of came out of nowhere for some people, but I feel like I kind of had that all the way back at Ohio State.
Nice. Well, I would imagine, Marty, you can evaluate talent. You've been around enough guys. You've gotten to know them. You know what it takes, I guess, on and off the field to get it done, especially at the next level. But staying in the SEC, Ty Schmidt's got a question for you.
Yeah, Marty, last year we really didn't have too many coaching changes in college football as a whole. But when you look at the SEC this year, obviously, John Gruden mentioned when he was at Georgia, like, hey, I'd love to be back on the sidelines, particularly in an SEC program. When you look around the SEC, whether it's Arkansas or Auburn, even, Florida, I know Billy Napier kind of garnered some goodwill back with the way they finished the season. But do you expect us to see multiple new head coaches in the SEC next year based on kind of what you're forecasting for how teams do this year, particularly a guy like John Gruden?
This is the first time in a long time we have 16 head coaches that were there last year, too.
Wow.
In the Southeastern Conference. Now, Billy, I've fought for Billy. I think that he's a phenomenal football coach. He had to turn a culture, which is really hard to do, and it took a little time. And then he got a guy behind center in DJ Lagway that is an incredibly gifted young man, a very composed young man. I had the opportunity to interview him with McGee at SEC Media Days, and we were very impressed with him. Billy's got it humming, but again, they have the hardest schedule in the country. So that's another part of this league that makes it difficult is there's just not a week off. There's just not any week off where you can rest. When Vanderbilt's beating Alabama last year, you know that scene in Christmas Vacation where Clark lights up the house with the Christmas lights, and he's going down the line of the family and saying, "Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful?" He gets to cousin Eddie, and Eddie goes, "You surprised, Clark?" And Clark goes, if I woke up this morning with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be as surprised as I am right now. Well, that's Vanderbilt beating Alabama last year. But Clark Lee has even built a program on the verge with Diego Pavia behind center. So it's just really difficult. In terms of people whose jobs might be questionable, certainly you're going to look at Coach Pittman, which pains me to say because he's one of my favorite people in the world. But winning is the business, and he'll be the first to tell you that. He told that to McGee and me last month at Media Days. And so some people might point to guys like Mark Stoops at Kentucky, who's had a tremendous tenure there. But can they take that next step? Look, if John Gruden came to the SEC, the time-space continuum might just fold in on itself because it would be just another incredible mind, incredibly passionate guy that would be great for the league. I don't know if you guys have ever spent time around him, but that damn guy is intense as all hell all the time, and I love being around him.
He loves ball, man. I love when somebody loves, whatever they're passionate about. John Gruden's clearly passionate about football. He loves it. Another guy that's very passionate, Darius Butler, he's got a question for you.
Hell yeah. I know you've been boots on the ground in SEC for a long, long time. A couple days ago, maybe yesterday, SEC and Auburn great Cam Newton's jersey was going to get retired. It got announced. He'll go up in the rafters. Any memory of Cam Newton, that unbelievable run he had at Auburn? And then is there a team this year that can maybe go on a magical run like that?
Well, Darius, first of all, the Cam back. When he put that entire team on his shoulders and came back against Alabama in the Iron Bowl, that's really the stamp of what was an incredible season at Auburn. And some people may forget he played 1 year there, and he only did every damn thing that you can do. This jersey retirement, this number retirement is a long time coming. All the guy did was win the Heisman, win a national championship, do every single thing you can do individually, and put his entire team on his shoulders every single Saturday. That guy he's an alien. And I've had the opportunity to be around him some because I live in Charlotte, and he, of course, was the MVP of the league here. And he did a lot for the community that people don't know about.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always appreciated that about Cam. Anytime I'm around him, he's so cool and so gracious with his time. And just as a quick story, a friend of mine had a son that was battling cancer, and ultimately lost that cancer, that battle with cancer. And they had a Halloween celebration for him earlier in October than Halloween actually fell. And there was this young lady went to Auburn, lifelong Auburn fanatic, and it got to Cam that this young man who was battling cancer was one of his biggest fans, and Cam showed up.
That's awesome.
That's pretty special.
So those are things, man. Those are things that are not championed enough that so many athletes are doing. And for a guy like Cam that can be polarizing to a lot of people, I can tell you that my personal experience, and I've seen what he's done here in Charlotte, congrats to him, man.
Hell yeah.
Congrats to Cam. Unbelievable player. Yeah, it's cool hearing the off-the-field stuff like that. Tone Diggs, you got something for Marty?
Yeah, I do. It's we're going to stick down in Auburn, down on the plains. Hugh Freeze came out and said he may play all three quarterbacks against Baylor in week one. And I think that kind of caught people off guard because they bring in Jackson Arnold. They pay Jackson Arnold, who's the 5-star freshman out of Oklahoma, who they bring in. And it kind of threw people off. I know they have a very highly touted freshman who they just brought in and a kid who started out of Stanford last year, but I think everyone thought Jackson was going to be the starter. What is your sense of the situation down there with Hugh Freeze? Is it a situation? Because I've heard practice hasn't gone incredibly great for that first-team offense. What are you reading about the Auburn quarterback situation? Because it's one of the only quarterbacks we have left to hear about.
Yeah, it tells you they're really searching.
Yeah.
And Coach Freeze has a very specific kind of guy he wants behind center. He told us at SEC Media Days when McGee and I sat down with him that he looked at Jackson Arnold as a guy that has incredible talent, and we know that. I mean, he was a 50-star coming out of high school, starts at Oklahoma. It did not go in any way, shape, or form like all of us expected it would at Oklahoma. Jackson looked confused a lot when he was behind center in Norman. He told us, takes a fresh start, goes over to the Plains, and we all just made the assumption, especially by the fact that he was one of the 3 players for Auburn that was at Media Day speaking on behalf of the program, that it was a foregone conclusion that he would be the guy. It just tells you that he's still trying to grasp what Coach Freeze wants to do, and these other guys might be doing as good a job. Going into a first game like that with 3 guys that are going to see action, not good. Not good at all for Coach Freeze in a season where he knows that there is so much pressure to win. It's just the way it is. It's the job, and so they better get that tightened up in a hurry, man.
How do you figure 3 of them out? Like, you hope 2 of them play bad and one plays great? How do you figure that out?
I don't know, because I don't. AJ, you've been around the game your whole life and have forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. I've never heard of that.
It just seems like it's already tough enough when there's 2 of the guys, but if you're going to play 3 and say, all right, hey, who's going to separate themselves out of this group? Yeah, I mean, crazier things have happened. I don't know. But
can't find a rhythm, man.
A quarterback's a position,
works.
too, where it's like, I don't know. I just like when the rest of the team knows who's in command, who is in charge,
and that player knows.
Yeah.
And that player knows, to Darius's point about rhythm, there's also self-confidence. The quarterback's superpower is self-confidence. And if you're looking over your shoulder, you don't have that, at least not to the degree internally that is required to know the play, be able to read what the defense is doing and rip. There's going to be just maybe a little bit of hesitation in there, and you just can't have hesitation.
There was a practice clip where Jackson Arnold, they were in the red zone, and I think it was like 2-on-2. It was just a nickel in the corner outside, and he didn't throw the ball. So, yeah, there's definitely some confidence stuff going on there.
And Coach Freeze is obviously frustrated too, guys. If you've seen any of the footage from him getting pissed off and, throwing his visor, and that's a guy you got to remember, like, Coach Freeze has won everywhere he's been. He's a real good ball coach. And so to get another lease on the SEC as he has at a tradition-rich program like Auburn, and be that close to beating Nick Saban again with Gravedigger 2 years ago, that's the kind of loss. That loss sticks with you. It sticks with the program. It's like Temple of Doom when that warlord dude tears that guy's heart out and shows it to him.
Exactly. That being said, Con, man, you got something for Marty?
Yeah, Marty, speaking of looking over his shoulder, hopefully CJ Carr isn't doing that at Notre Dame. He was finally named the starter after a pretty hefty battle. I personally feel as though I've been hearing about CJ Carr from Irish fans for the past 5 years, so it was a little bit of a surprise that it was even up for debate that he was going to be the starting quarterback. What should we expect out of him in Notre Dame, and do you worry about him, thinking that Kenny's behind him and that he might get a shot, or do you think CJ Carr gets kind of the Danny Jones treatment and ends up being the QB for the entire season?
Yeah, what Marcus Freeman has humming there in South Bend is so impressive, because they have built such a fantastic culture. They have built such a sustainable excellence that decision was made for a reason, and that's because that young man was running that offense the best. And he has a lot of talent around him, a lot of talent. He's got a Heisman candidate lining up behind him. He's got a great line in front of him. And so I have no worry about that at all. And in fact, what they did last year to me was such an incredible statement, because to beat the teams that they beat to get to the national championship, I just think that they are just getting started. I think that last year was a statement, but I just think this is such a sustainable thing that Marcus has built. He loves to be there, and I think that they have the opportunity to take another step. Now, will they win the national championship? They're not my pick, but I think they're going to be in that conversation for sure.
Yeah, you would think with Marcus there, they'll be in that conversation for a long time to come, a long time down the road. But I want a quick pivot before we let you go there, Marty. What do you think of Scottie Scheffler? Obviously chipping in on 17, getting another big victory. What are your thoughts on his dominance right now in the PGA Tour?
I'll try to be succinct because we're running out of time, but there's not enough superlatives. And that's not just what he's doing on the golf course. You know, you look at that chip right there that you guys are showing on 17 last weekend. That wasn't by happenstance. He practiced that exact shot with that exact pin placement during his practice rounds and what he expected to be the putt following. He didn't need that putt. But that's the kind of thing that just rips Bobby McIntyre's soul out.
Yeah.
And this what Scottie is doing is incredible, and it's not just the golf excellence. It's the man that he is. It's the way he's doing it. I don't remember another athlete in any other sport that does this in a way that it's not the most forthright thing in his entire life. Scottie is playing golf because he loves to work at golf, and it's his gift from God. But it is not Scottie's number one light in his life. And I want to read you guys something going all the way back to April 9th, 2022. This is the night before he won the Masters the first time. And I interviewed him that evening on Saturday night for SportsCenter and for the Masters podcast, For Please Now Driving. And I asked him, to what degree have you allowed yourself to consider the emotion of that green jacket sliding across your shoulders tomorrow afternoon? And this is what he said verbatim. And I have a little note card. This is what he said. If I win this golf tournament, it will change my life on the golf course, but it won't change my personal life at home. Winning the golf tournament isn't going to satisfy my soul or my heart. I know that going in, so I'm able to play freely, knowing that the rest really isn't up to me. I'm just going to go do my best. Now you think about that. How many athletes, period, but especially the elite of the elite historically, can genuinely look in the mirror and look at their beautiful wife and son with that authentic energy of, you are first? That is different, and I admire it to a degree that is incapable of being properly stated.
Well said, Marty. We admire you, Marty. Just to let you know, everybody here in the Thunderdome, Pat and his travels.
I love you guys.
Love you, Marty.
Love
We
you, Marty.
appreciate you,
Marty.
Marty. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marty Smith.
Yeah, Marty. Love you, Marty.
Yeah, Scottie Scheffler's pretty